If they had none of those other unhealthy lifestyle factors, they had the same all-cause mortality and cancer-related mortality that the non-meat eaters had. So I think that really highlights the importance of other lifestyle factors, other foods. That's really important when we're looking at these observational studies.
When you were talking about saturated fat and the negative consequences of eating refined sugar with saturated fat, is there a corresponding negative consequence? Like if you had negative, or if you had a diet that didn't have any saturated fat in it, but you ate refined sugar, like say if you eat a vegan diet, does refined sugar have less of an impact?
Of eating, so the refined sugar,
because the LDL, it's an issue with fat.
Yeah, yes. So the LDL will go down if you're eating a vegan diet, and even though you're still eating cookies or some whatever vegan stuff.
So refined sugar is probably like less dangerous to someone on a vegan diet? Is that?
Yes, I think so. And the thing with that is that if you look at refined sugar, also refined sugar is associated with heart disease risk. In fact, it's like there was a big study, like 400,000 different individuals looked at refined sugar, people that had the highest refined sugar intake. But again, saturated fat's a confounding factor there.
Right.
Had like a 4 times higher risk of having a heart attack. But it's perfect. You illustrated it perfectly, and that's where I think a lot of these guidelines, like the American Heart Association, come from. If you, on a population level, if you say to someone, reduce your saturated fat intake, you're going to lower the LDL risk, and regardless of all the other stuff they're doing, it probably will, on a population level, lower their heart disease risk. But on an individual level, like someone like you and I, we don't eat all that other stuff. We're very health, conscious and do all these things. You and I, if we stopped our saturated fat intake, likely, for me, I guess my genes are a little different, but likely wouldn't have the same effect. So if you were to take that same population of people and say, okay, eat your saturated fat, but take out the refined sugar, we may see the same thing where the heart disease risk goes down, just like it does with saturated fat. In fact, there have been studies where replacement foods have looked at replacement foods for saturated fat, and if you replace saturated fat with refined sugar, it does not lower the risk of heart disease. So basically, that's kind of a proof of principle there. But I do think that it's an important point, and it's something that the American Heart Association, they're now starting to at least mention the small dense LDL particles.